While Jaguar Land Rover introduced the 2-litre Ingenium diesel a few years back, they only started introducing its petrol counterpart some time ago. We got the first taste of it in the F-Pace some time back, and we thought that the car finally got an engine that it deserved. That car, however, was in the 247 bhp tune. The XF that we have here today is in the 197 bhp tune. We spent some time behind the wheel of this car to find out if the engine is good enough for the XF. Since this car is all about the engine, let's get straight down to the business end of things. Hit the start button and the engine comes to life with an uncontrollable judder. Once it settles in though, the engine is reasonably quiet inside the cabin. But the real beauty of this engine though is in the way it behaves. Right from the word go, the engine pulls with an impressive ease. And it doesn't quite come as a surprise given that it makes its peak 320 Nm of torque from as low as 1500 RPM. And the 2-litre motor feels equally punchy as you climb up the revs. Take control in your hands with the pedals and it doesn't shy away from holding on to the gears at high revs too. All of this really adds to the overall driving experience, especially since the chassis is capable of working wonders. The engine, however, complements the chassis so well that it's hard not to have fun with it.
Speaking of which, the steering wheel weighs perfectly well and is amply communicative too. You can switch between the multiple driving modes of the car to alter the engine, transmission and steering response. For a car that handles so well, you'd expect the XF to be harsh, but that isn't quite the case. For the most part, the car maintains its poise over broken roads, and it is only over the larger potholes that it tends to display some uneasiness.
But it isn't all smooth sailing for the XF. The throttle response feels a bit overeager, especially at slow speeds. So much so that it tends to jolt forward even at the slightest input on the A pedal. And it doesn't help that the 8-speed transmission feels a bit clunky at times.
Everything else about the XF remains all too familiar, right from its exterior design to the cabin. Space inside the cabin isn't class-leading, but just good enough for comfort. The layout and the tech inside have started to show its age though, especially given what the rivals like BMW 5 Series, Mercedes-Benz E-Class and the Volvo S90 have on offer. The XF in this prestige trim gets a 10-inch infotainment system that finally comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Some features like fully digital instrumentation, auto park and 4-zone climate control are only available in the top-spec portfolio trim.
The XF isn't a perfect car, but it's hard to find one anyway. The Jaguar has its limitations in terms of luxury, features and transmission, but what it loses there, it more than makes it up in terms of sheer driving pleasure. The XF is undoubtedly the most fun to drive car in its class. As far as the engine goes, it does a good job of complementing the dynamics of the car. In fact, it has got us thinking how much more fun can be had on the fully loaded 247 bhp version. I think it's time to call up the folks at Jaguar to request for the fully loaded 247 bhp trim.